the murders. Why?
Also, people like me are facing violence, assaults, the left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
Black people are only 13% of the population, yet they commit 55% of the murders. Why?
On September 10, 2025, Charlie Kirk was at Utah Valley State University in Orem, Utah. This was a public appearance, a part of his American Comeback tour. And Kirk was standing under a tent, and then all of a sudden, the crowd went into terror. And authorities believe that the shot came from a building approximately 200 yards away. Ultimately, he was hit by a sniper. And after being wounded, he was hospitalized, and later he was pronounced dead. People thought that they had the shooter, but they didn't, and the shooter is still on the loose. And the conservative right are devastated. Many people across the country are paying their respects to Mr. Charlie Kirk, including President Donald Trump. The White House posted on X, in honor of Charlie Kirk, President Trump is ordering all American flags throughout the U.S. to be lowered to half-mast. Those criticisms mostly came from the Black community. One of the things that Charlie Kirk talked about a lot was the Black community gun violence and how violent crimes were in Black America and why that happened.
Black people are only 13% of the population, yet they commit 55% of the murders. Why?
Because Black people tend to be in lower economic statuses.
So you think that poverty equals crime?
It's highly correlated. A lot of studies
this is where we
on that.
disagree. What an insult to the working poor of this country.
So why do you think Black people commit more crimes?
Well, first of all, what percentage of blacks have a father around when they're raised?
I'm not sure.
25%. 75% of Black youth are raised without a father in the home. 75%. That is the most.
That's not true.
In North Carolina, and he shared this post, Charlie Kirk did. Will Kane is 100% white. We have been propagandized by liars and fakers in the media to believe that America is a vicious, racist country, and indiscriminate attacks on Black people by whites happen all the time. But the numbers tell the truth. Blacks' attacks on white people happen 3 times more often than white on Black crime, despite Blacks being only 13% of the population. Why won't the media people just tell the truth? Why lie when those lies result in innocent people dying? Damn! Now that's very interesting, okay? Not only was Charlie Kirk called out the left, he also called out things concerning Black holidays.
But Juneteenth, what's actually going on here? Well, very few people are willing to actually call this out. From the first time that this was floated as a federal holiday, I am thankful and proud to say on this program we opposed it. This is not about out of many one. No, it's about a certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. The exact same thing that happens before NFL games where they play the Black national anthem. This recognition of this as a quote-unquote federal holiday comes right out of the 1619 Project. Look who's most excited that this is a federal holiday. And they're not talking about this as a massive celebration. Oh wow, look how far Blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Now we have a full day to be able to smear and slander white America. This holiday is a wedge, and I put in quotes, holiday is a wedge, used to push for countless destructive policies demanded by BLM. And remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder.
Now, this is where it gets interesting, okay? Now we're going from Blacks are violent, and then now we're going to Juneteenth. You don't like the holiday. Now, let me just say this. With a lot of the white conservatives, here's the mistake that they make. Number one, you tell Black people, what do they have to lose? That was what Donald Trump was saying. And then it looks hypocritical when you have Charlie Kirk attacking a holiday that was about slavery. So what you're saying is you're attacking a holiday that people are expressing themselves because their ancestors were enslaved. And so now you're saying that it's not a real holiday. I mean, it becomes insensitive, and this is a point that we need to build on. Charlie Kirk, although he does have some relationships or had relationships with black conservatives, he would only have those relationships with you, as it appears, if you felt 100% the way that he did. Every black person you see Charlie Kirk with feels the same way, usually, I would believe, about the black community that he does. That's the only way you're going to become a part of Charlie Kirk's inner circle. He partly owns Turning Point USA, and the blacks there are underneath Charlie Kirk, right? And they have to feel the way that he does, and they have to be able to have these same talking points in order for you to get close to him, okay? Now, if you say this about any other group, it's insensitive. And he was saying this about the black community. Again, if Charlie Kirk felt like this when it came to Juneteenth, it's something that he should have most likely kept to himself, all right? Now, if he talked about black on black crime and these violent crime problems, it's something that we can't really argue with. But now when you're talking about stuff like this, it's cutting to the edge where it is seen as disrespectful, okay? It's just what it is. It's something that he should have just left alone. Of course, what people do is they pander to their group, and then they know that their group obviously feels like this. So when black people hear a white person, a quote-unquote white conservative talking like this, they don't like it, all right? And they don't like this person who is saying it. Because the number one thing that blacks are going to believe is, why is he saying this? He doesn't understand the history. Why is he talking like this? Again, this is important. But then, what were Charlie Kirk's views on gun ownership?
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up new age term that it does a lot of damage, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year.
Number one, Charlie Kirk says here, he doesn't really have time for empathy, doesn't care about empathy, and it's worth violent deaths in America just to have gun ownership.
Oshay!
That's what Charlie Kirk says. What's the response?
So this is the guy that you dead and someone else. No.
So the young man is basically saying, listen, we understand that he passed. I'm not here to make fun of the fact that he passed. But Charlie Kirk himself doesn't have empathy for other people who die to gun violence. It is a cost of doing business.
So what?
Okay? Now, I'm not here to damage the young man. He was only 31 years old. He was married. He has a family. For somebody to kill him because of his extreme views, for me, it's disgusting. You know, I wouldn't want anybody being killed for their views, even if they're black, okay? But the reality is that there are people out there who will kill you for your views, no matter what you think, all right? And then at the same time, when you want people to have empathy for your community, in your group, and you have evidence of not having empathy for their group, when you pass away, people in this generation, it's not like it was before, especially with the youth now. Disrespecting dead people, we see it in rap music, we see it, people just don't care as much as they used to care back in the day. Like, back in the 90s and 80s, the Bloods and Crips, somebody going and kill their enemy, that would be it. Nobody would go and make a rap song about it and disrespect you. But now, people are doing that, all right? So when Charlie Kirk passes away, nobody is going to be thinking about the fact that he's offended. Well, he has 2 kids. He has a wife. He was 31 years old. He had time to change some of his ideas. He was really changing the world. He was really a political activist for the right. He actually wanted to see the right things. Ain't nobody gonna think about that. People gonna think about it in the ways that they saw him when he was doing it. Like, okay, you didn't care about us, so what do you expect? And I think that the whites out there who are already in big tension under the Irania Azarasuka situation and the Carlos Brown, the question that the blacks are gonna ask you is, who killed Charlie Kirk? Let's have a real serious conversation. Now, I know that you say blacks are attacking whites and these numbers, I don't know how skewed they are. Who tried to assassinate the president? It wasn't nobody black. Y'all quiet about that. And Charlie Kirk, in Utah Valley State, I can promise you, wasn't no brothers out there, okay? And that just goes to show you that despite all of his commentary, that black people took it and took it in stride. They might not have liked it, But no black person said, let me go and shoot you for what you got to say. There are other whites online that are just disrespectful towards blacks, and nobody goes in and shoots them, okay? Same thing with people like Fresh and Fit and Myron, and that's why he's like, hiding out right now. Nobody black is going to go and just shoot them. They might beat them up or something like that or want to fight them, but nobody's going to shoot you. But that's not the case when you look at when whites decide that somebody has to go on the left or the right. That's a little bit different, okay? Yes, we can most likely say that this shooter was a white person. And at the whole time, this guy was going around talking about how violent blacks were. We're going to be honest about the real violence around the world and who has perpetuated it around the world for centuries at a time, okay? And since white people want to talk about how violent blacks are, I gotta ask you a question. Who do we learn it from?
Woo!
You see, the issue that whites try to do is to separate their bad behaviors from what they taught blacks. Everything we learn or know from broken English, from everything in America, good or bad, okay? We've learned it from you, okay? And whatever situations you put us in, and then that became a reality for us, yes, unfortunately, we kept those things up, the bad things. Now you want to say you tired of us. Now you want to say you tired of what we become. Well, the reality is that, see, what you taught us, you can't get away from. And that's the problem. You see? Now, what happened to us is now what you're also dealing with within your own community. And again, yes, blacks are violent and blacks have problems. But blacks are not killing the significant figures on the right or trying to assassinate presidents or political figures in America. We don't do that. So why don't y'all put the emphasis on where it needs to be? Where is the accountability for y'all? You want to do a race war? You want to do a riot war against the blacks because things are happening? Well, who has been your problem the whole entire time? It ain't been blacks. If you really want to be honest, what you would say is the liberal left, right? It's other white people. That's always been the issue in white America. It's never been black America because y'all always had that on lock. Both the white conservatives and white liberals have reduced blacks to where they're not a threat to you, a real threat. It's a talking point. You know who the threat is. The guys who own the businesses, the guys who own the big corporations, and the left owns a lot. The people who can make things like this happen. That is who your real issue is with. But I think some of y'all are afraid of them, so you become powerless and blame it on the blacks who don't have that power. Charlie Kirk went around talking about black dysfunction, and black people were not responsible for his death. It's unfortunate it happened to him. But who are your real issues there? And it's not us. We've been neutralized as a community against whites.